In this video, I'm going to show you how to use display layers. This is great for having the ability to place different objects inside your scene onto a different layer, and then you can hide that layer and all the items within it. You can lock that layer. It's a great way to organize your scene and have some items be visible and other items be unselectable. We have now reached the end. This is the final video in this Maya beginner tutorial series. And this was from first module of 3 from Maya Foundation Home Study course. To get module 2 and module 3, which will teach you how to polygonal model environments and props, as well as how to UV them so you can texture them. Get the full course and get access to module 2 and module 3 to continue learning Maya to actually model and to actually UV. And now let's finish up with this tutorial series. So I'm going to create a few cubes. Go ahead, zoom in. I'm going to make some of them larger. Let's duplicate this cube as well. And let's create a couple of cylinders. And let's duplicate that one. You'll find the display layer menu on the right hand side, right here. There's a tab for animation layers, and we're not going to use this. So make sure you are on the display. A couple of icons you'll see here is the ability for you to create a new empty layer, which is going to be the third icon. And the fourth icon is create a new layer and assign a selected object onto it. So let's go ahead and just select one of the cylinders. And I'm going to click the fourth icon. And what this will do is we'll create a new layer and assign the selected object onto that layer automatically. You'll now see a new layer up here. And the first visibility icon that I want to take a look at is the V right here. If you go ahead and enable and disable this, this will hide and unhide any items inside that layer. The third little box right here, this is where you can enable the ability to lock objects within that layer. So if you left click, this will turn into a T. So this is what it does. It creates all the objects inside the layer as a template. So you'll see the wireframe and you will not be able to select it. If you left click on the third window again, little icon, this will turn it into a reference layer. So it will no longer be wireframe, it'll be fully shaded, but it is a reference, so you will not be able to select it as well. So just a different visibility for all of the objects within the layer. And if you left click on it third time, then you're back to just working with the object. P right here, that stands for visibility during playback. So if you're doing animations, you can enable disable to have it visible during playback, but we won't be using that. So the two icons that we will be using is the visibility to turn things on and off, and then to enable wireframe, the template, or the reference. So you can select or not select the objects within that layer. If you want to rename layer 1 to something else, just double click on the layer text. Menu will pop up, and here you can rename the layer to anything you want. So I'm going to go ahead and name this cylinders, and then click save. If you want to go ahead and place other objects into that already existing layer, just select what you want to place, right click on the layer, and then choose add selected object. And now both of these cylinders are inside the layer. If you want to go ahead and remove it, just select the object. Actually, let's go ahead and place this cube. Add selected object. Now I have 3 objects onto it inside the layer. Let's say I want to remove one of them. Just select that object, come back to the layer, right click, and then you can remove selected object. Another useful menu here, or the function inside the drop down menu, or the menu for the layer, is right click, and you can select all objects. This will select all the objects that are placed inside that layer. Now let's create another layer, and we're going to place these cubes onto them. Instead of having a selected object and then adding that object to a new layer automatically, let's go ahead and click on this third icon. And what this will do is it will just create an empty new layer. So nothing that has been placed, whether it's selected or not. Let's go ahead, double click and rename it. Let's save. And let's go ahead and place our cubes into that layer. Since we did not add anything automatically, you would just select one or as many objects as you need to place onto the layer. Then you right click and add selected object. And now the cubes are on the cubes layer. If you need to move the layers up and down in the stack on how they appear, just select the layer and use the first two icons. One will move it down, the second one will move it down, and then the first one will move the layers up. And if you ever need to delete a layer, just hover over, right click on the layer, and delete layer. This will delete the layer, but not the objects within it. So the layer is gone, but we still have our objects. And last, you have ability to assign a different wireframe color onto the objects within the layer. So it just helps with organization. So if you come over here to the layer and this fourth window icon right here, if you left click on it, this will bring up the edit layer menu, just like we double click on the cylinders layer, this will bring up the same menu. And right here on the colors, so you can choose a different color that will assign to the objects inside that layer. Then you click save. And now that layer and all the objects within it display a different color. So it helps you with visibility and organizing your scene better. And if you want to remove those colors, just left click on the color icon again and just turn that off. So now whenever you are working in larger scenes and you want to organize your scene, create different layers for different objects and parts of your environment, definitely utilize the display layers. You have finally reached and watched all 17 videos within this beginner Maya tutorial series. Make sure you check out the full course and continue learning Maya.